Machado out of the lineup. The road trip didn't start the way the Reds wanted it to in Milwaukee. They lost not one, not two, but three in a row. Brandon Phillips and his teammates wondered, where would the offense come from? On to Chicago and the friendly confines for Todd Frazier. 9 of 15 in the series. He led the Reds offense. And guess what? Johnny Cueto spun number 15. The Reds win 3 in a row to wrap up the series in Chicago. Tonight, Matt Latos goes for win number 11. Guess who comes to town? It's the Mets and the Reds next on Fox Sports Ohio. Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight, it's the Reds against the Mets, the first of a 3-game set. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the crappy left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. It is Bow Tie Tuesday, and Chris, you're usually pretty lucky on a Tuesday.
Well, we ought to be pretty lucky tonight, George, because you got a big horse named Matt Latos out there pitching, and he's been pretty doggone good. You know, when you look at what he's done on the year, it's been outstanding, especially over his last 10 or so starts. But here's the series matchup with the Mets in the entire 3-game set. Chris Young, big, tall right-hander, will face Matt Latos. And then the real tough one is tomorrow night with R.A. Dickey going against Mike Leake. Harvey going against Bailey on the third day. But that middle game right there, boy, what a pitching duel that really shapes up to be, with maybe a guy who is, along with Johnny Cueto, in contention for the Cy Young Award going on the hill right here in Cincinnati. It'd be interesting to see.
First things first, the big, tall pitcher for the Mets faces the big, tall pitcher from the Reds. Here's the righty, Chris Young.
Well, Chris Young's really struggled. He got off to a great start this year, and then he struggled mightily over his last 6 or 7 starts. In fact, he's given up 9 home runs in his last 7 starts. So here's a guy who's a fly ball pitcher. This ballpark is not a very good matchup for him at all.
That's Chris Young's story. For the Reds, his story, 4 blown saves, or else this guy could be going for his 15th of the year.
It's really amazing what he has done. In fact, he is 10-1 since April the 18th. That's how good Latos has been. He's pitched big games for the Reds. He's pitched well in those big games. I expect another big game out of the big guy tonight.
So it's Latos against Young. It's game number 1 of this 3-game set here in Cincinnati as the Reds try to keep the win streak rolling. You know, when I went into Terry Collins' office today before the game, he said, "Who's that guy you got at the end of the game?" Wow. We'll talk about him next.
it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
From Great American Ballpark, tonight's weather report is brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's the lovely and talented Michelle Boudelette.
By first pitch this evening, the showers should be out of here, but we'll still hang on to some cloud cover. Mostly cloudy skies early on. It's 77. By the end of the game, partly cloudy, down to 72. For Fox Sports Ohio, I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelette.
Thank you, Michelle. We hope when this one wraps up, the big guy has a hand in it. And, Chris, he has had a hand in just about everything good that's happened to the Reds this year.
You know, George, if there's one pitcher in baseball that fans should flock to a ballpark to see, it should be Aroldis Chapman. I mean, what he has done this year is simply mind-boggling. The number of strikeouts, a few number of hits, the consecutive number of saves is something other pitchers have done, but they've never done it with the style and flash that Aroldis Chapman has. He is averaging 16.7. That's nearly 17 strikeouts per 9 innings. This is like a #1 draft pick pitching against an 8th grade team. I mean, this is what he makes the opponents look like. He hasn't blown a save in a long, long time. He's got the best opponent batting average in maybe forever. So, you know, you got him right here on your ball club, so come on out and see him.
Craig Kimbrell, the fine closer for the Atlanta Braves, said when he takes the mound, it's kind of like watching a video game. Coming up next, no video game, it's the real thing. Jay Bruce and the Reds take on David Wright and the Mets next on Fox Sports Ohio. Brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Picture perfect night for baseball. The 63-year-old manager of the New York Mets, his third stop as a manager, Houston and Anaheim. And, boy, he's done a tremendous job with this Mets club in spite of all the injuries. He's kept them upbeat. Let's check the starting lineup for Terry Collins and the Mets coming in. Ruben Tejada has been a godsend. The young shortstop has hit well, and he's in the leadoff spot. Mike Baxter, good hit-and-run guy, bats second. David Wright, yep, if this team were in contention, he'd be an MVP candidate. He's had a tremendous season. Ike Davis hits behind him. Daniel Murphy, Jordany Valdespin after him. Andres Torres, the veteran center fielder, patrols the middle of the outfield well. Josh Tolley, the catcher, and Chris Young, the big pitcher out of Princeton, bats in the number 9 position. That is your Mets batting order. Speaking of big guys, this guy on the mound for the Reds, Chris, has been big in terms of size, but big in terms of the way he's pitched.
Well, he's only had one ball game in which he's given up more than 2 runs in about a month and a half. I mean, he's just been outstanding since the month of April ended and the rest of the season began for Matt Latos. He's gone at least 7 in his last 3 outings. And his last one, 7 innings of 1-run baseball against the Brewers. Tough matchup today because this is a pretty good hitting ball club, and Latos has thrown the ball as well as he ever has.
Mets' problem has been pitching. They've had a horrible year via the injury route. Their bullpen has been decimated. They've had trouble there, and Terry Collins has also, of course, seen his starters go by the wayside too. But they can put some numbers up. At Tejada at the top of the lineup, impressive at 320, a homer and 20 knocked in. He slaps this one to the right side and foul. The native of Panama, only 22 years of age, and you know, you lose Jose Reyes, you wonder what are we going to do at short. I don't think they got to worry about shortstop right now.
Well, they don't. He's filled in very well. I mean, he's a guy that I didn't think anybody would think that he would be hitting 320 about this time of the year, but he's got a nice short swing. He doesn't strike out a ton. He's a guy that knows his limitations and plays the game hard. You know, the Mets, one of their main weapons is working the count and getting a lot of walks. That may not work, however, against Matt Latos. He's a real strike thrower.
And he's ahead here 0-2. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. One of the keys to his success this year has been getting ahead all season long. 1-2 to Tejada with Baxter on deck. Down to third. Wilson Valdez picks it and throws him out for the first out. Let's check your forward defensive alignment for the Reds. The Reds have done it with great starting pitching, a great bullpen, and solid defense all year long. In the outfield, Ryan Ludwig in left, the Speedy Stubbs in center, Jay Bruce in right. Valdez is in for Roland at third, Cozart Phillips the double play combo, and Frazier over at first. Ryan Hannigan as usual catching Matt Latos. That's your forward defensive alignment for the Reds. Can't minimize the importance of solid defense. It's very much reminiscent of 2010, Chris, when the Reds went to the postseason.
No, you don't get good pitching without good defense. You have bad defense, you give a team an extra out an inning. You wear your pitchers out. You have to go to the bullpen earlier. It's a cycle that starts that you just can't get out of if you continually make errors behind the pitcher. This ball club does not do that.
Ball 1 to Baxter, who's solid as well, the left-handed swinger in at 306. You get Tejada on. Baxter, pretty good hit and run guy. The third base umpire, Dan Iasonia, saying, it didn't go around, so it's 2-0. Jimmy Reynolds is behind the plate. James Hoy, the umpire at first. Jim Joyce over at second, and Iasonia is your third base umpire for the first of 3 against the Mets, and then 4 in 3 days against the Chicago Cubs. Haven't seen them in a long time, have you?
Who, the Cubs? Can't see them enough.
For you go to Chicago, 3 days is like 2 weeks, huh?
Well, you know, 3 days up there is fine, but I mean, being able to play the Cubs when they are as decimated as they are in their roster is the thing the Reds and every other ball club that's in contention ought to take advantage of. They traded away some of their best pitching. They've got another guy on the disabled list. They have very few parts left that ought to be a threat to you. Dusty Baker's crew took care of them. 3 out of 4 in Chicago.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Baxter. Sliced into left. Over is Ludwig. A little bit of an overcast sky tonight as we go deeper into the season. That sun in left field, of course, the first inning or 2 can be very treacherous. Fortunately, the clouds will kind of shade the left fielder in the early going of this one. And here's David Wright. When the Reds last played the Mets back in New York twice, in fact, they played them twice within a month, this guy was maybe the #1 candidate for most valuable player. Since then, he's tried to carry this team on his shoulders. He's expanded his strike zone. He struggled mightily early in the month of July. He's bouncing back a little bit, Chris, but he still had a great year.
He always hurts the Reds. I mean, he hits the ball so well, not only in his ballpark, but anytime a Reds pitcher's on the mound. Career average over 350. He's hit 10 home runs against this Reds ball club, and it's not a team that he sees all that often. Very dangerous hitter. You get that ball on the outer part of the plate, thigh high, and he can hit it as far as anyone.
Drafted as a high schooler out of Virginia, where he was the high school player of the year his senior year. Didn't get to go to college, but boy, he's got an education at the major league level, especially coming up in New York. Strike one delivery fouled off.
But Latos is sharp already. I mean, he's throwing the ball on the corners. He's had a chance to get his breaking ball over. Every time you look up, he's got 2 strikes on the hitter. That's a sign of a pitcher that has a lot of confidence going right now. When he struggled in April, he messed around just off the corners with his breaking ball, didn't challenge many people with his fastball, was kind of feeling his way around. But now that I think he knows what this team is all about and where he fits, he's stepping up.
0-2. Setting up down and away is Hannigan, just missing a ball and 2 strikes.
That's what I was talking about early on. When you take a look at the month of April right here, I mean, man, oh man, if people were wondering what the heck did the Reds get in Matt Latos? Why did they trade all these players to get him? But, you know, Walt Jocketty and company said, well, let's be patient here. Let's find out what's going on. Since that time, he's 9-1. Not too bad.
1-2-3 for Matt Latos in the first. Going to the bottom of 1, Zach Cozart, Drew Stubbs, and Brandon Phillips after Latos takes care of business. Boy, do the Reds need a shot in the arm with Joey Votto out of the lineup, and boy, did this guy give it to him. Todd Frazier, the last series, he hit 609 for 15. He hit over 400 on the road trip, and he's one of the keys to this lineup tonight as Votto remains out of the lineup. So is Scott Rowland. The starting lineup for Dusty Baker has Zach Cozart leading off, Drew Stubbs batting second, Brandon Phillips, who's really picked it up with Votto out. So is Ryan Ludwig. He's been a game saver. Bruce Frazier, Valdez, Hannigan, and Latos. That's 1 through 9, your Reds batting order. Speaking of tall righties, here's another.
Well, he is a tall righty, no question about that. About 6 feet 10 inches tall. Chris Young, former San Diego Padre. Short armor, pitches up in the strike zone. There was a time when Chris Young would throw the ball low to mid-90s. You have a lot of strikeouts to go along with those fly balls, but that hard fastball is now gone. And he pitches up there, gets away with it sometimes, but lately he's been giving up a lot of long balls. Last 7 starts, he's given up 9 home runs, and he has gone 1 win and 5 losses in that period of time. So the Reds might be getting him at the right time.
1 ball, 1 strike to the Reds leadoff hitter. That's ripped to the left, a base hit for Zach Cozart. Check your 4 defensive alignment for Terry Collins and the New York Mets. Valdez Beans in left. Torres, he's outstanding defensively in center. Mike Baxter's over and right. David Wright's won a Gold Glove twice. He's at third. Tejada's very solid at short. Daniel Murphy has really been at home at second. And Ike Davis, outstanding at picking him out of the dirt at first. Josh Tolley's your catcher for Chris Young. That's your 4 defensive alignment. Now, you talk about Todd Frazier being a candidate for Rookie of the Year. Put Zach Cozart on that list, too. You go into manager's office after manager's office, and they are all respectful of the job that number 2 has done for the Reds. He's played a key position, been in the lineup all year long. and he's added some offense when the Reds have needed. He's been very solid, Chris.
He has been solid, and really way more so than anybody would have thought going into his first full rookie season. Just a solid guy. Great way to put it.
Here's Drew Stubbs at 228, 14 homers, 36 knocked in. Dribbled down to third, past Mark Berry, the Reds' third base coach, as usual. Berry mans the coaching lines at third, and as usual, Billy Hatcher down at first. 2 for 9 is Stubbs against the Mets this year. Approaching his 100th game of the season. Stubbs, he'll strike out a lot, but as the Mets are saying before the game, wherever you put him in the lineup, he'll walk into one once in a while and hurt you with a big hit, and he's done that of late. Drew Stubbs now with 14 home runs on the season. Dusty has had to mix and match his lineup consistently with all the injuries and people in and out of the lineup. He's got Stubbs in the number 2 spot today ahead of Phillips, who's hit pretty well. The hope is you get him a fastball. And you know the story about Stubbs. The Reds usually win when he scores. They're 42-5 when he scores a run. There was talk about a week ago, Chris, that this would be the day that Joey Votto would be back for the Mets series. Votto with a setback on his injured knee. Now there is no timetable for him coming back. And it is remarkable the way the Reds have responded without Rolen and without Votto. 2-2 popped in the air. They'll try to deke Cozart, but he'll read it and will head back to first. Stubbs retired, 1 away, and here comes Phillips.
Well, they really have responded. I mean, they have won 19, lost 8 during the time that Joey Votto has been out. A lot of people thought at the time of his injury, if the Reds can just tread water, if they can just finally play to 500, they'll hang in there. But not only have they hung in there, they've spread their lead now to 5 games up on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they've done it mainly with pitching. Timely hitting, pitching.
Here's Brandon. Put Brandon's name on that list too for turning it up a notch since Joey went out. Now again on the threshold of 300 at 296. 13 homers, 63 knocked in. Now people are motivated in different ways, and Brandon usually motivated internally rather than externally. And when Votto went out, they moved him to the number 3 spot. He wanted to prove that he was equal to the task, and he sure has.
You're right. I think Brandon likes being the man, and there's no question about it. He has just stepped up his game big time. The thing that we've really seen about him this year is that we've showed this a couple of times while we were on the road. He hits the ball just about equally to every different part of the field. He's got the same number of hits he does to center, to left, and to right. It makes him very tough to defense. It also makes him very tough to pitch to.
Young to the stretch. Cozart not going. That's on the inside corner. A strike. 1-1. There was a time when Chris Young would deliver it at 94, 95. And boy, those days in San Diego, Chris, he was one of the toughest right-handers in the league to face. He kind of reminds you of Aaron Harang with that small, quick motion to the plate.
Yeah, small and quick. That usually doesn't come along with a guy who's 6'10". Former college basketball player, but he still would pitch up in the strike zone back then. So the combination of him throwing that hard in a big ballpark made him very tough, almost unbeatable. Here, a little different story tonight. He no longer has that fastball, and he's pitching a very small ballpark, a ballpark that the Reds, they've run off the best record at home of anybody in the major league. So they play as well here at Great American as any team ever plays at home this year.
Young has had some success first time through the lineup, but you look at it second and third time through, the numbers mount up dramatically with him on the mound. And certainly the Mets do not have the bullpen to back up their starters as the Reds have. So the key is make him work, make him throw pitches, and get him the second time around.
Well, that's one area where the Mets are really good, taking pitches, making the pitcher throw a lot. The Reds are not so good in that category. They're much more aggressive in their overall team philosophy. The key for Young is which pitches to chase. If he throws them too high, let him go. But if you chase it up there just above the top of the strike zone, he can throw it by you even at 84 and 85 miles an hour. This is his fastball. It measures at 83 miles an hour, but if you throw it right at the very top of the zone, that's the spot where all of us in Little League used to chase that pitch, and our coaches used to yell at us, make them bring it down, don't swing at it in your eyes. Well, it still looks awfully good to a big league hitter.
And you never listened to your dad, Dan.
No,
he told you that anyways. Here's Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig at 266, 21 homers, 63 knocked in. Nobody's been a bigger force offensively, more so than this guy of late. Some players you add up numbers wise, others you have to add up via their impact. And when he was in St. Louis, he wasn't the man, but he came up with big hits when the Cardinals needed it. And that's what Walt Jocketty hoped he would bring here. After struggling early, he never lost confidence in himself. Got his legs back under him, and he's come up with big hits when the Reds have needed it. 1 ball, 1 strike. I mean, you look at where he was around 200. And now after hitting 325 in his last 40-plus games, he's got the average up to 266. Backhanded by the former Gold Glover. Ludwig tossed out, so the Reds get a leadoff hit, nothing to show for it. Going to the second, Ike Davis, Daniel Murphy next up. For serious injuries, dial 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Those teams that have given the Reds trouble at this ballpark, Great American Ballpark, since the Reds moved here. The Dodgers have the overall best record. The Reds play them here still in September, the 3rd week of the month. Phillies 20-12, and the Mets 18-11, including a 4-game sweep, their first ever 4-game sweep here. That came last year. And the Padres and Astros. So the Mets have played the Reds tough here, Chris.
They always have. And, you know, and for the Mets for years and years, were a team that would always bring good pitching with them. And they're not quite as good this year, although we will see tomorrow night one of the best pitchers in all of baseball in R.A. Dickey, hard-throwing knuckleballer. I should maybe refine that differently. He throws his knuckleball harder than any other knuckleballer we've seen.
You really hit the nail on the head.
The guy is very, very, very good. It ought to be a real great matchup, he and Mike Leake.
Kind of reminds you a little bit of Tom Candiotti, who used to throw a fastball once in a while, or a knuckleball that was, you know, on the fringe of 80 miles an hour, which no knuckleballers do today. Here's Ike Davis. You say he's got his average up to 217. Believe me, that's a long road from where he was. He was around 150, 160. Now 20 homers and 63 knocked in. He had a horrible first part of the year. He was afflicted with what a lot of people thought was similar to what Bronson Arroyo went through last year, valley fever. He's a University of Arizona product, was a teammate of Mike Leake's. They said it was the flu, whatever, but he just had no strength at all. Took him a while to get his swing together, a while to get his health together, and he's had a pretty good last month and a half.
Matt Latos has one strikeout on the night, but I'll tell you what, everybody on this Mets bench watch that pitch. That is a slider that essentially goes straight down. Latos gets way on top of that, drives it down the strike zone. There's no hump in that. I mean, it looks like a fastball coming out of his hands. He is one of the better hitters in the league, looking mighty bad on it. I'm wondering, if he throws it at that spot all night long, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
One away. Here's Daniel Murphy on the threshold of 300 at 296. 4 homers, 49 knocked in. Murphy had last season short circuit. In fact, the last 2 years he's had a left knee problem, a right knee problem. They really didn't know where they would put him defensively. They wondered if he could adjust to second, and he's done a fine job at second this year and had the average near 300, and he's been a solid performer for Terry Collins. That slap foul past the first base coach, Tommy Goodwin, former major league outfielder. Good to see Goody back. Well, he could play, couldn't he?
He could run. He could go get him.
And a former minor league manager for many years in the Mets organization, and a former major leaguer in his own right, Tim Tuffle, on the coaching lines at third. Line right to Brandon. Hey, Kroger, the Reds are proud to offer you a great value this season, the Kroger Meal Deal. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger Meal Deal, which includes a hot dog, bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and this homestand, a Slim Jim. Get the Kroger Meal Deal on your next trip to Great American Ballpark. And Jesse, thank you for our meal deal today. Right, Chris?
You better believe it. We thank
Penn Station.
Penn Station, East Coast Subs. Jesse brought up a big box of hot steak sandwiches. Man, oh man.
I think there were 6 sandwiches. Chris got 4.
Awfully good.
We had a fight for the other 2, right?
Well, it was worth the fight, don't you think?
It was. The Mets minor league, not blessed with a lot of talent at the threshold. This is the one guy they hope can fulfill some promise. He's got some power, 8 homers, 26 knocked in on the season. A little bit of swagger, sometimes too much swagger. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
It's a nice way of putting it, George. Swagger. Back in the old days, people used to call him a hot dog.
Mm-hmm. With extra mustard.
Mm-hmm.
If you can play, you get chances, right? If you can't, you're gone.
Well, you know, you don't get to this level unless you feel like you belong here, like you have confidence in yourself. And sometimes the guys go over the edge on that a little bit, and it's oftentimes the way it's interpreted. They may not mean it like that, but they just may be a little bit extra flashy.
And as long as you can perform, people will put up with it. I mean, Look at Chad Johnson. Look at Ocho Cinco. For many years, he had that package. This year, it's caught up with the lack of playing ability on the field and his off-field problems. He no longer has a job. Line, it is a foul ball. Nice catch. See, now there's no swagger. That's just a good catch. The way to do it, like you've been there before.
Exactly.
No balls, 2 strikes. Ahead in the count. It's been a great prescription for success for Matt Latos, and he's following it again tonight so far.
You know, I don't understand why Jimmy Reynolds would allow Valdespin to call timeout when he's already in his delivery. I mean, he was already rocking back when the time that Reynolds calls it. Here he is. He's stepping back, and now he's going to say, I want timeout. You shouldn't be able to do that.
No, you're right, exactly.
And all he's trying to do is upset the timing of the pitcher. I understand that and get that. But there's a point at which you start your delivery, the umpire ought to say, you know what, you don't get timeout.
I know you're an official representative of the pitchers union, but I mean, you're right, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he actually saw that first move by Latos.
Who?
Reynolds.
Well, let's hope he saw it, because he's the home plate umpire.
Yeah.
I bring him up on general principles.
That's with the disclaimer of the pitchers union.
Okay.
General principles always favor the pitchers. I can never remember a time in 20 years that it hasn't. Off the end of the bat, right past a diving Brandon Phillips. That's the first hit for the Mets.
You know, one thing I have to commend Matt Latos about is not getting upset at that. Not showing any outward signs of emotion. That's one thing that he's done throughout his career. You can kind of read how he feels by the way he acts, his body language, his facial expressions, and so on. And, you know, the best pitchers always seem to have a poker face out there. They just, you don't know whether they're angry, sad, happy, you know, whatever emotion there is, they're hiding it inside. You never know if you're getting to them or not. And kudos to Latos for just going ahead and doing what he can to get these guys out, not worry about what that guy did and be angry with the umpire or out of spin for asking timeout while he's ready to deliver the baseball.
That's a strike on the outside corner. Andres Torres came over from the Giants. That was part of that deal this past winter that sent Angel Pagan to San Francisco. Not a young player. He's 34 now. He'll patrol center with pretty good defensive capabilities. But the Mets have outfield problems as you look ahead. If you're looking what this team needs, yep, they need a bat or two in the lineup. They need a catcher. They need for Terry Collins to fill out an outfield that can be a major league caliber. The guy they had hoped that could fill one of those slots, Jason Bay, who just still has not recovered from the injuries of the last couple of years. Lucas Duda has been sent down to the minors. He will most likely be up again later this year and be part of the equation next year. 1 ball, 1 strike to Torres. Runner going. That's slap foul. Tom Goodwin, who runs the running game for this club and also coaches the outfielders, whispering in the ear of his young runner at first base. Goodwin was an outstanding base stealer in his own right. Runner going again. It's slap foul again. And did the bat hit the glove of Hannigan? It did. So it'll be catcher's interference as the pitch was up and it was almost in the glove of Ryan when Torres flailed his bat at it and he just clipped the glove. Take a look.
Well, Hannigan was jumping up trying to get a little bit of a head start on throwing out the runner in the event that Torres takes that pitch or he swings and misses. If he swings and misses, it's strike 3. But you still got to get yourself up out of the crouch and you just reach a little bit too far forward.
So first and second with 2 outs, and that'll bring up the catcher Josh Tolley. Now in catcher's interference, the play is not dead. If the ball were to be hit by Torres in that case and it was a fair ball as it went down the left field line, if it had gone fair, say it was a double, the offensive team would have the choice of taking either the interference or the play as it materialized. In that particular case, it was a foul ball, so the benefit to the offense is the catcher's interference, and there are 2 runners on. One strike. Good speed on the bases for the Mets here in the second. Off his foot and foul. By the way, the Mets announced just before the game today that they have acquired the contract of Kelly Shopping. Take another look as it's bounced off the foot. So they get some help from Sharpick from the Boston Red Sox on a waiver claim for a player to be named later. That announced just prior to the game tonight. Oh, 2 again. Left field over is Ludwig, and he'll squeeze it. Single and a catcher's interference. The Mets will strand 2, though. Reds go to work. Jay Bruce will lead it off when we return. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Chris's favorite sound. Hey, Sundays are family days at Great American Ballpark, and Sunday, August 19th, cheer on your Reds when they take on the Cubs. Plus, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger receive a Mr. Redleg's Great Adventure storybook, written by Northern Kentucky native and longtime Cincinnati Reds fan Joel Altman. Don't miss this great kids giveaway thanks to PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Bruce, Frazier, Wilson Valdez due up. Jay Bruce, big swing going back. It will be off the base of the wall. Rounding first, going to second is Bruce. Here comes the throw, and he'll be in there. Hit off the base of the wall, and a good job by Baxter to turn it around to second. Bruce never let up, gets in by a half a step, and the Reds have the leadoff hitter in scoring position.
Well, Mike Baxter may shy away from this ball a little bit. If you remember watching the very end of the Johan Santana perfect game or no hitter, He was the guy that crashed into the wall, ended up missing some time on the disabled list with a shoulder injury, so he shied away from that one. Jay Bruce gets a double. He is safe at second, safe and secure.
New York life. I guess he needed those 2 days off. He's been a different hitter since coming back, Chris.
Well, he has. I mean, he picked on a 2-0 pitch the other day in Wrigley Field and popped one into the stands for a 2-run home run. He jumped all over the first one he saw right here, right across the letters, and nearly lined it out of here.
1 ball, 1 strike to Todd Frazier. Speaking of Chicago, boy, did he have a week's worth of hitting in 3 days. 9 for 15 was Frazier in Chicago. He's been successful against the Mets. You know, he's from New Jersey. When he went to New York to play the Mets, he hit well. 417 in that series. Trying to get the runner over. He won't do it here. Little things. Get him on, get him over, get him in. The Reds do not advance the runner from second with no one out. Todd trying to go to the right side, but got under it. And still sitting at second is Bruce.
Man, that was a hanging breaking ball, and sometimes I can tell you as a former pitcher, you hang it so high that the hitter can't hit it very well. And that's the pitch right here. Look where this is. He wants it down and away. That ball is hung right up there, and Frazier, man, oh man, he's going to be thinking about that pitch all night long. How he probably should have hit it 450 feet. But he's not the kind of guy to have a long memory when it comes to that.
Rutgers guys forget fast.
Well, Frazier does. Clean slate every day. That's what you love about the guy.
Here's Wilson Valdez, 217, no homers, 11 knocked in. You know he's a great bunter. And the Reds very seldom would sacrifice in a situation like this, but he can on his own bunt for a base hit to the right side. Capable of doing that. 1 ball and 1 strike. They pull Ike Davis way over from the bag, and Murphy trying to keep Bruce as close as he can at second. So there's a pretty good hole on the right side.
Boy, they are just challenging Wilson Valdez to hit a deep fly ball right here. They're playing very shallow. You'd think that there was a pitcher up as shallow as the Mets outfielders playing him. I mean, this is a small ballpark. Normally you see those outfielders are good 10 to 15 feet deeper than where they are right now.
He got him and he knew it. Well, Young battles back. The double, and then he gets 2 quick outs. So the Reds with a great opportunity. Their second base runner in 2 innings. He knew it. Second strikeout for Young. It's up to Hannigan to try to get the run in for the Reds. And they will walk him with Latos due up next. Intentional walk to Ryan Hannigan, and here comes Matt.
Well, Latos has had a pretty good year at the plate. He's picked up 7 hits already, batting 163. That doesn't sound like much, but compared to what he did last year, where he only had 4 hits all year long. I mean, 7 hits for Latos is the most hits he's ever had in one major league season. And he's hit a number of line drives right at the shortstop.
I remember, didn't he get his double in New York? Was it against the Mets? Had 1 double on the year. Was here. Got a base hit in New York. I don't remember whether it was a single or a double. Trying to deliver here with a hit. Two on, 2 out. Bruce led it off with a double. They had been sitting at second ever since. There's the 1-1. That's pop foul. Adams, so Young battles back, strands 2, and the Reds have stranded 3 through the first 2. Still scoreless. Going to the third. Young is due up.
Jim Day with you just beside the Reds dugout, and some Reds players and broadcasters. Well, they have nice haircuts today. Thank you to Head and Shoulders. Head and Shoulders did a terrific job supporting Marty Brennaman shaving his head. And today they did even more. They donated $1,000 in each person's name who got a shampoo or a haircut today. Players like Jay Bruce, Bronson Arroyo, Zach Cozart were in there, broadcasters as well. And even the crafty left-hander, Chris Welsh, high and tight on the hair today. They raised $15,000, 15,000 extra dollars, I should say, for the Reds Community Fund. So a terrific job by Head and Shoulders, of course Procter & Gamble, a long-time Cincinnati corporation here, and they've certainly done great things in the community. And fellas, I even got a cut today.
JD, you look like, did you fall asleep? Did they get you on the side, or was that the way it was supposed to be?
Well, here's what happened. The person from L.A. was cutting my hair, and peer pressure ensued, and they said, just style it like you would in L.A. And I got kind of this extra swoop thing going on. I don't know what it is.
You're always in style, JD.
It's a little different, but hey, it was for charity. It was for a good cause. And again, thanks to Head and Shoulders.
No kidding. You look good, JD. I like that look. We hope to see maybe the swoop, if not every day, at least on Tuesdays. That could be your.
You know what?
It could be your own movement.
That
swoop
could be
on Tuesday.
Here's the problem, though. She styled it for me. I have no clue how to do that. So
come on up here. We'll let Jesse work on you.
All right. Right now, I've got the wind tunnel tested hairdo.
Hey, by the way, JD, great job on the Marty Brennaman night, emceeing it down on the field. You did a tremendous job. What a fun night that was for everyone in Reds country. Marty did a fantastic job. It was a special night. You did a wonderful job.
George, I appreciate that. I think I had a little too much fun. We've made fun of Marty's hair over the year, and I think we all enjoyed seeing him get his head shaved, but more importantly, $100,000 to the Reds Community Fund.
And hey, that hair's growing back pretty fast.
Yeah, you know, it actually looks pretty good. And I don't think that you're ever going to see that poofy-haired, fancy boy look again. So if you're in the market for a used hairdryer, he probably has a couple dozen or so, going all the way back about 4 decades.
One away as Young flies out. Here's Ruben Tejada. There is the Hall of Famer. Tejada bounced to third first time up. Chris, Jack McKeon used to call it moments of opportunity in a season. I remember in 1999 he told it to the Reds when they were in the middle of a pennant race with the Mets going down to the wild card hunt. There's a liner to left going back. Ludwig looking up, looking up. It'll be one hopping off the wall. Tejada rounds first. He'll cruise into second with his 18th double of the year. So Tejada is on with a 2-base hit.
Boy, he's got a nice short swing. He showed that the first time up, even though he just grounded out to third base. But he gets to the ball very quickly with this and stays right on it. There's not a whole lot to really go wrong with that swing. Gets his foot down, very short stride. And in this ballpark, you've got power.
So Tejada's in scoring position with one out, and here comes Baxter. Baxter probably the best handler of the bat in this lineup. They'll take advantage of the holes you give him in the infield, and there's one on the left side for him right now as Kozart's trying to hold Tejada as close as he can to second.
Yeah, they've got some pretty good guys at the very top of this order when it comes to on-base percentage. Tejada 365, that's above average. You got Mike Baxter at 429. Now he's missed a lot of time, but still, you get on base in front of David Wright and Mike Davis that much, you're going to give those guys a chance to pile up some runs batted in.
That'll be the second out of the inning. They will move the runner over to third. Here's tonight's Farmers Insurance report card for Matt Latos. Against righties, pretty tough, Chris.
Well, he's got that breaking ball. In fact, he's got two kinds of curve balls, or one curve and one slider. He's used them both on the day, and they all add up to be one of the toughest right-handed pitchers in the league against right-handed hitters. That's a good report card as we begin to celebrate or commiserate the beginning of school this week, next week, and the weeks beyond.
Hard to believe, huh?
It is. Been a quick summer.
Now, these are two big right-handers that work from the first base side of the rubber. And is that one of the keys to success for a right-hander against a right-hand hitter?
Well, it's really a spot where you see a lot of right-handed pitchers throw anyway, because it's a lot easier to throw the ball inside to a left-hander or away to a right-hander when you work on that side. If you're a right-handed pitcher and you work way on the third base side of the rubber, and you need to throw that ball inside to a left-hander, you've really got to get great extension. You've got to make sure you don't throw across your body in order to get it out there and get it out there consistently. Latos doesn't have that problem normally. He's got good direction with his feet, and he gets good extension. That's one reason why he really owns that glove side of the plate, or the outside to right-handers part.
0-2.
Well, he got him last time on a slider, on a 1-2 count. And he got ahead of him like he did in this count. Then he wasted a pitch and then came back with a slider. I would say that they're going to go slider right here, down and away, try to get out of the inning. After he just changed his eye level, made him look at a ball and swing at a ball that's way up around his eyeballs.
Setting up, down, and away. Got him. Threaded the needle. He strikes out right for the second time, this time looking. They strand a runner at third. Matt Latos rolls through with a strikeout in the first. Another one here in the third. We're still scoreless. Special guest on the Fan Express to Reds Country. More information on how you and your group can get on the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express to Reds Country. Call 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/Fan Express. Always fun time and great to have everyone from Xavier at the ballpark tonight. Jesse, were you driving that bus tonight? You were off tonight. Here's Zach. Cozart singled to lead off the first. He was left stranded. The Reds have gotten the leadoff hitter on both innings. Nothing to show for it. Cozart a single in the first. Bruce a double in the second. Cozart, Stubbs, and Phillips for the Reds here in the third. Hit pretty good. Left center field. It will be off the top of the wall. Rounding first, going to second, and cruising in with a two-base hit. His 25th of the year is Zach Cozart.
Now, we talked about the Mets leadoff hitter Ruben Tejada and what nice quick swing, very simple approach he has. Same for Zach Cozart. There's not a whole lot to it. He's a very quick kick, gets his foot down, keeps his hands back, doesn't drive the ball with his body too much. He just uses his hands, and he's a very strong kid for his size, and nearly leaves the yard with that one. 25 doubles. Well, he's having a very nice year.
Well, here's Drew. Stubbs flying to left first time up, showing bunt, pops it up and out of play.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you bunt off Chris Young, because if he's a real fly ball pitcher, he throws the ball up, and if you want to bunt at the ball at the very top of the strike zone, you've got to start your bat up there. You can't start your bat at the waist and then bring the bat up to meet it, because you'll pop it up every time. Start the bat at the very top of the strike zone. If he throws it higher than that, lay off of it.
Here's the strike one. Showing bunt again. He will get it down. That'll get the runner over. And they'll get him by a step. Yeah, it shows you it doesn't have to even be the best bunt. Just get the bunt down and you'll get a runner over. And he almost beat it out.
Well, it's not a force play. So you have a lot more margin of error right here. You just do need to get it down. You see, he started low, got it up, but he kept a good angle on that bat. Here's a good look at him watching it. Look how close his head is to the point of impact. That's another thing that helped him out right there. That Expo replay, courtesy of Performance Honda.
Good job, Stubby. Runner to third. Mets will keep the infield back as Phillips will come to the plate. Brandon struck out on an 83-mile-an-hour fastball right in on the hands first time up. He's been delivering. He now has 63 runs batted in on the season. Slap foul. Bruce with 69, Ludwig 63, Phillips 63. And Joey Votto went on the disabled list. He led the league in 6 different categories. Even though he's been out for a month, he still leads in 2 categories. Look out. I guess if you were to draw up a pitcher to pitch in San Diego at Petco Park, Chris, it's Chris Young.
Yeah, you're right about that. He needs a big ballpark normally, because a lot of the long fly balls he gets out there fall harmlessly into his outfielder's gloves or along the warning track. Those same balls are in the seats here.
Off third is Cozart. Here's the 1-1.
A little better plate management now for Brandon. That's a pitch that he was swinging at in the first inning, resulted in a strikeout. He's not a real good high ball hitter. He's a much better low ball hitter, thigh high hitter. Everybody is, but he likes the ball down rather than up, especially those balls that are just marginally above the top of the strike zone. And the way he crouches, there's not a whole lot of height to his strike zone.
Young wanted that, just misses wide. And it's 3-1. No runs, 3 hits for the Reds. No runs, 2 hits for the Mets. already on a 75-mile-an-hour pitch.
Well, you try to wait a really long time because you read it as a breaking ball early on, but then you find yourself you waited too long.
That'll reach the seats and be out of play. Try it again, 3-2.
Well, you got to hand it to Chris Young, though. I mean, if you send him to a college showcase right now, and he's topping out tonight at 84 miles an hour, there aren't a whole lot of Division I programs that would say, other than the fact that he's 6'10", and he might get more of a fastball when he gets older, would even take a look at him. But he's going right after big league hitters.
And the dirt ball for the Reds will have first and third. That is the second walk issued by Young. The first one was intentional.
Well, let's take a look at this monster pitch by pitch of this bat. Brandon Phillips, Chris Young. They're going to want to go after him upstairs with fastballs early on, and that's what he does just to try to set him up. Now, once he gets behind the count, he's going to go with an off-speed pitch, just missing there. Another off-speed pitch where he swings and misses. Now Brandon's still in control, fouls one off, and will eventually walk him on a slider or maybe a breaking ball down. But all through that at bat, you can see that the strength of the pitcher is up. And that's where Chris Young wanted to go after Brandon Phillips, our Mazda pitch by pitch.
First and third. Here's Ludwig, who bounced to third first time up. Steps in now with 21 home runs after number 21 came on the last road trip. Since the All-Star break, 9 of those 21 have been hit by Ryan Ludwig. And that's in the top 3 of all of Major League Baseball. That's how impactful he's been for the Reds since the break. Ozart doubled. He's at third. Phillips walked. He's at first. In the air to center field. Here comes Baxter, tagging his Cozart. Baxter has it. Cozart will slam on the brakes. And going to second will be Phillips, and he'll get there. It was not cut. I don't know whether Tolley didn't yell cut, but in any event, it wasn't cut. And from a Red standpoint, the Reds get the benefit of allowing a runner to advance.
Well, it wouldn't have been an advance unless it was a heads-up play by Brandon Phillips, because a lot of runners are going to assume that that ball is going to be cut. Baxter coming in. I mean, that is very shallow right field, so you're not going to do it. He's just trying to throw it to the cutoff man. And by the time it gets to the plate, it's bouncing, almost rolling. And when Brandon sees it go right by Ike Davis, he'll go on to second base. So base hit now, scores 2.
And here's Jay, who hit the first pitch he saw in the second off the wall and right for a double. For Bruce, that was his 28th double of the season.
Boy, Brandon Phillips' second base is about going halfway to third every time a pitch goes to the plate.
Well, we've seen a lot of strange defenses, Chris. Here, the shortstop is in short center field. Tejada isn't even on the dirt, so Phillips can get a half a base path lead. So a single here would easily score 2. But Bruce is in the hole, 1 and 2. Hop back, it'll be out of play. Young has allowed the Reds 3 hits, a single by Cozart in the first, a double by Bruce in the second, and the double by Cozart here in the third. But he's been able to keep the Reds off the board thus far. if this is catchable. Valdespin there, and he'll haul it in. So once again, the Reds threaten, don't score. They've stranded 5 through 3. We're still scoreless. McCoy runs down the postseason award chances for 7 different Reds, plus more on former Bengal wide receiver Chad Johnson. And if his latest infraction will mean the end of his NFL career. Find out that and more in your all sports stories on FoxSportsOhio.com. Story here is pretty good pitching and missed opportunities for the Reds. Cincinnati is stranded 5 through 3. We are scoreless going to the 4th inning. Ike Davis, Daniel Murphy due to lead it off against Matt Latos. Latos allowed a single to Valdespin in the 2nd, a double to Tejada in the 3rd. Great to have you with us, George Grant, Chris Welsh, here at Great American Ballpark. The first of 3 against the Mets, and then 4 against the Cubs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That includes a day-night doubleheader on Saturday. Tomorrow, Mike Leake against R.A. Dickey. What a season Dickey has had. Just as you credit Johnny Cueto with having a Cy Young kind of year, R.A. has had a Cy Young kind of year for the Mets, too. Homer Bailey against Matt Harvey, the brilliant young pitcher, just called up a couple of weeks ago. That'll be Thursday. All night games at 7:10. The day game on Saturday will be 1:10, the night game 7:10, and then on Sunday against the Cubs it's a 1:10 encounter. Of course, we're on the air with Reds Live pregame with Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro. And with us as always, Josh Hall, our producer tonight. Roy Alfers, our director. Uncle Roy, great to be back with you. Lauren White dialing up some graphics for us. Matt Sigafus with some highlights. Kent Dreamweaver did the honors for us with pregame. He'll be back for postgame. Anthony DeMarco with us as usual. Jim Crobe on audio. Joel Luckup, our premier statistician, with Jesse Jackson up here. And of course, ready to say goodbye to their son Benji, John Brody and Cindy. They sent him to college. So tell us, John Brody, what's it like to have an empty house with Benji in college? A few tears, right, Chris? We've all been through that.
Oh, yeah. Funny how the kids don't cry when you drop them off.
Well, leadoff walk here in the 4th. Here's Murphy, who lined to second first time up. And that'll sneak through on the right side, and just like that, there's 2 on.
Yeah, leadoff walks never really lead to much good for the pitcher. In fact, that every time I see one, I think about the minor league pitching coaches along the way, and I'm sure they still say it. There's the 80% rule that kicks in. That 80% of those leadoff walks come around to score. Now, that's not an accurate statistic, but it sure seems like that. It just changes the energy of the inning.
All right, what do you do if you're Terry Collins and you've struggled of late? Nobody out, 2 on here in the 4th. Valdespin to the plate.
I think you let this kid hit. Got a base hit, had a pretty good at bat against Latos his first time. Small ballpark. He's got some pop. He's got 8 home runs.
Single to center his first time up. They're expecting a bunt, and there's a big swing and fouled off. Ozarks right behind the runner Davis at second, trying to keep him as close as they can to try to keep the force in order at third. Showing bunt. Gets it down. It's a good one. They just get him.
Well, what a gun by Latos. You talk about putting some hemp on that ball down to first base. See now we did put the radar gun on that bad boy. It's a really good bunt. And Valdespin coming out of the left side of the batter's box. He runs pretty well. But Latos does everything right. He goes down. He watches the ball as he picks it up. Makes sure he has it in his hand. Steps, fires a seed to first base.
So second and third, 1 out, and here's Torres, the center fielder, who has walked intentionally in the second.
That big guy moves good for a large man, doesn't he?
Hey, Chris, you and Jim Kelch and Tom Brenneman have talked a lot this year about those players on the Reds roster that have improved in different ways. And when I look at Matt Latos, I see dramatic improvement in demeanor, dramatic improvement in the way he approaches his job each and every outing. We've seen him with some difficult outings in the first half, and he went home at the All-Star break and has just come back motivated.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that, you know, he's 24 years old, so you have a little bit of maturity maybe kicking in. You also recognize the fact that Brian Price and Mac Jenkins have done a great job with everybody on this pitching staff, but I think that they've really helped Matt Latos from an advisor type standpoint as much as anywhere else.
1 ball, 1 strike to Torres.
That tells part of the story. First half, second half, earned run average. Certainly the month of April blew him up from an earned run average in the first half. But since the middle of April, he is 10-1. That's a good run. Last time out, he pitched a really good ball game against the Brewers. 7 innings, 1 run, only gave up 3 hits. A blown save by the bullpen ended up costing him his 4th consecutive win.
And maybe the most dramatic blown save that the Reds have had this year was that 9-4 game in New York that he lost. He didn't lose. He left with the lead and ended up, the Mets came back to beat the Reds.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher.
Yep. Breaking ball locked him up. Good pitch selection, great pitch location.
You know, there aren't many pitchers out there that on the same day have a good curveball and a good slider, but we've seen Latos have that combination working for him an awful lot. I mean, usually you come out of the bullpen, you think as a pitcher, well, my slider's my off-speed pitch today, or my curveball's my off-speed pitch. But he has thrown both of them tonight very effectively.
They'll walk the catcher totally intentionally. He lined out his first time up and faced Young. the pitcher.
See, this is why a sacrifice bunt in a situation like that backfires on the Mets. If you start sacrificing late in the batting order like this to the number 6 guy, then you get the 7 guy out. That's 2 outs, and you can walk the 8th just like he is right here, and you end up pitching to the pitcher.
What you're hoping is that your number 7 hitter is going to get the job done.
Well,
if he doesn't,
but you're only giving yourself one shot to get the job done instead of letting the 6 hitter swing, maybe get the job done, or maybe hit into a double play. I mean, every manager looks at it differently, and he may do it differently next time. But I mean, you give Dusty Baker and Matt Latos and Hannigan the chance to kind of pitch around this situation. All you need to do is get one guy out, and in that case it was Andres Torres.
So Bob Guerin, the bench coach, next to Terry Collins, the manager. Guerin, the former manager in Oakland, veteran catcher, brilliant defensive catcher.
What about one of them just said, "I told you so"? Not really.
Here's Chris Young, flied out first time up. They're loaded with 2 outs. Opportunities for both clubs so far. Neither is cashed in. Liner, it is caught. Boy, he saved 2. Brandon snares it out of the air, and the Gold Glover delivers for Matt Latos. Another look. Supreme. With the food service industry for over 30 years. Buy your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now. Visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And buy AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And on this Tuesday night, we want to remind you that this evening's game is being broadcast on the American Forces Network. We'd like to welcome all those watching in 175 countries and ships at sea around the world. Thanks for tuning in to Mets and Reds baseball. Thanks for all you do to keep us safe and all you do for our country. Very prideful week as the Olympics wrapped up in London. The United States doing exceptionally well. And congratulations to everyone associated with the Olympics in London. They did a tremendous job.
They were fun to watch.
They were. The Olympics are about emotion and stories more than athletic events.
And I think a little of the emotion was taken away from some of the Olympic events, George, because I just don't like the new scoring that they have, the anonymous scoring. I mean, you just don't get a chance to hate the Russian judges when they're not holding up the cards. I mean, really.
Yitsky.
That and the fact that unless you paid attention, you weren't sure whether they were Americans playing or not in a game because the uniforms were not consistent.
Yeah, you're right. It used to be red, white, and blue or whatever, and now
those are my only 2 complaints, small ones. Wow. Man, I do miss beating those Russian judges. I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one that misses that.
Frazier pops it up. He's retired. Todd pops up for the second time to the second baseman Murphy. Well, Chris Young working into the 4th inning. He's struggled his last couple of times out, but here he's into the 4th. He's allowed the Reds a single by Cozart in the 1st, a double and a walk, the double by Bruce in the 2nd, and a double by Cozart and a walk in the 3rd. Valdez, it's catchable to center field. Torres there, 2 away. Well, they're making this inning look easy for Young.
Well, you know, he's putting on a clinic on how to pitch with less than major league stuff. And you really have to admire him for that. And it just goes to show you it's not how hard you throw, it's where you throw it. And right now he stayed above the hitting zone or below the hitting zone. That last fastball he threw at 86 miles an hour, at least by the radar gun here at the ballpark. That's the fastest he's thrown all night.
His Hannigan intentionally walked back in the 2nd. Remember a few years back when Dave Miley was running the Reds spring training minor league operations, and he asked Tom Browning to speak to all his young pitchers, and they herded them all into the lunchroom, and here were all the minor league pitchers, 6'4", 6'5", some of them like Young, giant hulking guys, and Tommy asked them all, how fast is your fastest fastball? They're all saying 94, 95. And Browning said, well, I threw a perfect game throwing 85. Right field to the wall. One hop off the wall. Rounding first, going to second will be Hannigan. He'll be in with a 2-base hit. 3rd double for the Reds. Let's see if they can get one in.
First look, that ball had a chance to go out. At least I thought so. There's a mistake by Young. First time, or not first time, but one of the rare times he's thrown the ball pretty much right down at belt level. This ball a chula right into the corner and just no bounce.
You still have your highlights, Sesta, from those days?
I wish I did. I still have the losses, though.
Yes.
Still trying to deduct those.
Your accountant needs to talk to you about that. Here's Latos, who struck out back in the 2nd. Trying to help himself with a go-ahead base hit here. Two and 0.
2 philosophies right here. One is that you give him a take sign until he takes a strike, and maybe have Chris Young walk him and continue the inning for Zach Cozart. The other theory is you green light him right here and let him swing 2-0. And I like that right there. Dusty Baker giving him the green light, knowing he's going to get a fastball. When you're the pitcher and you've got the #1 hitter standing in the on-deck circle and runner at second base, you know that pitcher's going to throw you strikes, and more than likely they're going to be hittable fastballs.
He does have a homer on the year, of course. Three and 1.
Only one unintentional walk by Chris Young, and here he's got a 3-1 count on the biggest strike zone the Reds have.
Ball 4.
Good eye by Latos.
Well, he walks the pitcher, and now he'll face the guy who's had the best swings against him all night. That's Zach Cozart, 2 for 2, single and a double. We talked about it earlier, the difference in third time around the lineup for Young this year. He struggled in his third time around. Let's see if Cozart can make him pay. Hannigan off second, Latos off first.
Rising batting average first time, second time, and then third time jump through the batting order, or at least batting average against for Chris Young. That's called familiarity. Makes your batting average go up.
Is that the title of your first book in baseball?
No, it's just, I thought Shakespeare said that. He was a little more OPS guy.
He probably would have been, wouldn't he? Fouled off, it stays 0-2. A double for Hannigan, a walk to Latos. And Young preparing to deliver his 70th pitch of the night. Just does stay alive. I think Zach was one of those that got the head and shoulders haircut today.
He did.
Pretty good looking haircut. Yours came out nice.
Thank you.
You didn't want to get out of that chair,
I had nothing
did
to
you?
do with it. We interrupt this shampoo for a haircut. That's a horrible way to end a shampoo.
There's the 1-2. In the air to right, it'll stay in the park. Baxter there, and the Reds have stranded 7 through 4. We remain scoreless. Fox Sports Ohio. You want it? We've got it. Jim Day, Jeff Pecora will be by to keep you up to date on all that's happening for the Reds. A pregame look each and every day, 30 minutes before every Reds game. Only on your exclusive home for Cincinnati Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. Don't forget, if you're hitting the road, take Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds with you this year. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Reds out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Reds.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. The real fans are here tonight. Very pleasant evening in Cincinnati. Great to have you with us, George Grant, Chris Welsh, for the first of 3 against the New York Mets. So far, it's been a pitcher's night. Matt Latos has allowed 3 hits to the Mets. Chris Young 4 to the Reds. Neither team has scored. We go to the top of the 5th. Tejada, who's 1 for 2, a double. Baxter and then Wright due up. As you go deeper into the game from a matchup standpoint, the Mets do not have a left-hander on the bench. They put all their left-handers in the lineup. Jason Bay, Rob Johnson, Ronnie Cedeno, Scott Hairston, and Justin Turner, all right-handers left on the bench. Pretty good into the left field corner, but at the edge of the warning track, Ludwig will haul it in for the first out. At Pittsburgh tonight, the Pirates and the Dodgers are going at it. Dodgers beat the Pirates yesterday, so the Reds start the evening with a 5-game lead over Pittsburgh. 3rd inning scoreless. Cubs and the Astros at Wrigley. Houston leading 1-0 in the 3rd. Cardinals and Arizona scoreless in the 2nd. Fouled at the plate by Baxter. Atlanta and San Diego. They're now in the 6th inning in Atlanta, with the Braves leading 3-0. What do you think about at least for a period of time, the Braves going with a 6-man rotation, at least for 2 to 3 weeks?
It's funny how one team's going into a 6-man rotation, another team like the Rockies going with a 4-man rotation, limiting pitches to 85 per game. I mean, everybody's got a different theory. I imagine that there are probably 2 pitchers on every staff, 2 of whom would like to go to a 4-man rotation and pitch every 4th day, and 2 others that would like to pitch every 6th day.
When Bob Boone was the manager here, if he had stayed, he was going to try to, as an organization the following year, go to 4 days rest. You'd have to start that in the minor leagues and do it over a period of time to make it work, huh?
Yeah, you really would.
Full count, 3-2 to Baxter.
Oh, yeah, but they did it for decades and decades.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't think the human body has changed all that much to all of a sudden warrant the fact that you need an extra day. I think it would change the way you would see pitchers pitch. You wouldn't see guys as full effort pitchers as you do right now. You wouldn't see probably as many hard throwers, and I also think you probably would not see as many injuries because guys simply wouldn't try to throw 100% effort on every delivery. Those are back in the days of 8- and 9-man pitching staffs.
Line to center field. That'll sink and drop in front of Stubbs. A base hit for Baxter. He's 1 for 3.
David Wright has come in here, always hit the Reds very well. 350 batting average plus in his career, but not tonight. A couple of strikeouts, one on a slider, one on a perfectly placed 0-2 fastball. And David Wright, they're just painting that outside corner on him tonight.
Right now 2 for 10 against Latos in their matchups. Latos has won 2 of the 3 decisions he's had against the Mets. 2-1 record and an ERA of about 3.5. Right 0 for 2 digs in. And the dirt smothered by Hannigan. Think of Mets history and the third baseman they've had, and you think of Howard Johnson first, probably as a power hitting third baseman.
Boy, I never saw a fastball he didn't like.
But as David continues to put up numbers, this year he's already become the #1 Met in runs, walks, and runs batted in. When his career is finished, he'll have a whole host of Mets records. Solid defense to go along with it.
Now the Mets have him under control through the end of next year, and of course already in the media hype of New York, they're wondering what they're going to do with David Wright after next year.
Runner bluffs going. This one hit to right. Bruce into corner against the wall, will haul it in. The throw will come into first. It'll be tardy, but good job by Bruce. He knows the park. He knows the warning track. He measured it perfectly.
Well, you got to figure if you're David Wright, if you hit this ball in New York, it's an easy out. But here in Cincinnati, you just might get a cheapie. Going the other way right there, Jay Bruce still about 6 feet away from that wall when he makes the jump, but he's able to negotiate it, bring it down.
The Reds have been pitching him away all night. Finally, he tried to go away.
Well, he's a good hitter and he'll adjust. Keep him in the ballpark. If you can keep him in the ballpark all night long, there's a good chance that you're going to do a pretty decent job against this Mets ball club.
So 2 away, still anchored at first is Baxter, and here's Ike Davis. Davis popped to third and drew a leadoff walk in the 4th. Hey, Reds fans, don't forget August is National Sandwich Month, so celebrate it with JTM's quick and delicious meatball sub kits. Pick up a bag today. That's JTM. Runner going down to third. Fair ball. Tapped the bag, does Frazier, and that'll do it. Frazier got it just before it went foul and may have saved a run. This gets by him. It's trouble with the runner going. We're still scoreless. today's game. Virginia Dennis from Amelia, Ohio, a proud owner of a Toyota Vienna, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win and an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. And don't forget, if you're playing along with us during tonight's game, go to foxsportsohio.com right now and choose which of the listed players will be the first to strike out in the 8th inning. If you're not playing along, make sure you join us on foxsportsohio.com each Tuesday night throughout the season. Winners will be announced in tonight's post-game show. You playing along, Jesse? Okay. Hits are even, so's the scoreboard. We are scoreless. Drew Stubbs to lead it off. Breaking ball drops in there for strike one. Stubbs flied to left first time up, successfully sacrificed in the third. Reds have had their chances. They've stranded 7. This one blooped into center. Here comes Torres. He will not get there. It's a base hit. You're right, Chris. The Mets have been playing shallow with the exception right there of Stubbs. That gives him a chance to sneak one in.
I think Torres got a little bit of a slow break on that, and he makes up ground because he runs very well. But when Stubbs swings the bat, he's got such good power that you're frozen for just a second. So now you got the speediest of the Reds on board. And it'll give Dusty Baker a chance to see how he can play this thing.
Scoreless game, 5th inning, bottom of 5. Your best base stealer on. Do you send him? Do you hit and run? You've got Brandon Phillips, who struck out and walked so far tonight. When the Reds won in 2010 and made it to the postseason, Dusty was probably the most aggressive that he's been. Of course, he had a team he could do that with. And of late, he's been more aggressive to try to get the Reds offense rolling. It's a line shot. They'll try to go back to first, and they do. It's a line drive double play.
You hit it hard, you hit it right at him, but if you're the guy at first base, there's no way, especially if you're an experienced base runner like Drew Stubbs, that you get fooled into this and get doubled up coming off first base. A little acting job at the very end of that by Ike Davis. I'm not sure how close that was, but certainly a base running mistake that cost the Reds.
So 4 of the 5 innings, the Reds have gotten the leadoff hitter on, and so far nothing to show for it. 2 away, and here's Ludwig. He bounced to third and flied to right. Jay Bruce on deck. Left field towards the corner. It is one hop off the base of the wall. Ludwig around first, going to second. So the Reds get their second hit of the inning. 2 out, a runner at second. Unlikely that Stubbs would have scored. He possibly could have, but the Reds would have at least had second and third.
Well, he was fooled on the first off-speed pitch that he saw in this at bat, but Ryan Ludwig was not fooled on that one. Stayed back on it, kept his head down. Boy, when he's swinging the bat well, his head doesn't move, and he kind of hunches over a little bit, and he just keeps his head perfectly still.
Now they overshift on Bruce, the shortstop Tejada behind the second base bag. And now Tolley will call everybody together just to make sure there's no signs that have been picked up this late in the game. The Reds have had so many base runners sitting out at second. They're not taking any chances.
No, I'm not really so sure that Jay Bruce is going to get a lot to look at here in this at bat. Now Dan Worth and the pitching coach is going to run out there to talk to him. Bruce left-handed, Frazier on deck right-handed. young on the year, better against righties than he is lefties. Lefties hit him for about 299 batting average. They've hit more home runs.
Looked like he's asking him a question, who do you want to face?
Yeah. And Jay Bruce has to be aware of this, that it's not necessarily going to be a situation where they're either going to pitch to you or not. They may act like they're going to pitch to you, but then they'll pitch around you. Maybe see if you'll chase a couple of bad pitches, get you down to the count, and then put you away.
Bruce double and a fly ball to left.
Yeah, you can see where the catcher's setting up. Tola, he's just way off the plate. Good old-fashioned pitch around right here.
Ball and a strike. Todd Frazier's popped up twice on deck for the Reds. They're giving Bruce a lot of room in left center, and they've been pitching him away. Ludwig trying to get every inch of a lead off second. Again in the dirt, and we're full 3-2. Way wide is Tola. Dusty hoping his left-handed swinger can deliver here. 3-2 with Ludwig off second. Opportunities. The Reds have now stranded 8 through 5 after getting the leadoff hitter on again.
much more clubhouse reaction. It's Reds Live, presented by King's Honda. You can check them out at King's Auto Mall. Jim Day with you. Let's give you an update on Joey Votto. First time we saw him in the clubhouse today since having surgery on Friday to clean out that knee once again. And he put to rest all the rumors that it was not a successful surgery, etc. He said he hurt his knee sliding. He said he was over anxious, overzealous when he was close to coming back, probably turned up the wick a little too much, called it an unlucky occurrence, but he said it's much different this time than the first time around with surgery. Took him about 2 weeks, guys, before he could do anything. Now he's in the pool, he's running in the whirlpool, etc. So he hasn't hit yet, but looking good that he'll be back sooner than later.
That's a fly ball to left. Ludwig is retired. Boy, didn't Joey look like a caged lion? He wants in there, doesn't he?
Been a while. I mean, the disappointment he must have gone through when he felt that pop after he slid that second time, knowing that he was very close to being activated. I mean, he was really close to being 100%.
One away. It is remarkable what the Reds have been able to do without the two guys you just saw on the bench in the lineup every day, Roland and Votto.
What they've been able to do, though, is pitch. And that, in my mind, is the biggest thing that they've had going for them all year long, is their pitching has been lights out. From #1 starter all the way down to #5. Sure, some guys have had bumps in the road along the way, bad outings. That's going to happen. But overall, I mean, they've got a airtight bullpen. And their starters, just more often than not, keep them in a ball game.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And here it is again, another outing for a Red starter. You look up on the board, they got 5 innings under their belt, no runs given up. Last time out for Leto, 7 innings, 1 run.
Two. Valdez-Bean single to center and sacrificed successfully in the 4th. They got to hustle. Just to get it there. That long second hop, but Cozart still was able to have enough on the throw to get him.
Cozart knows he has to charge it. There's the big hop right there. He lets it bounce one more time, but that white rat will beat you there every time.
I'm not talking about Whitey Herzog either.
I'm talking about that ball going across the infield.
It is amazing when you talk about 60 feet 6 inches and 90 feet. I mean, how many times does it come down to boom boom?
Yeah.
You know. Leto's bare hand. Oh. Well, let's see if that might get them ignited a little bit. Reds need some runs. Are still scoreless. Frazier, Valdez, Hannigan duo. preseason coverage begins on Thursday as the Bengals take on Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Then on Friday, Matt Stafford and the Lions head to Baltimore to square off against Ray Lewis and the Ravens. Coverage of both games begins at 8 o'clock Eastern, only on Fox. Pitchers duel tonight. Reds 6 hits, nothing to show for it. They've stranded 9 through 5. Frazier, Valdez, and Hannigan due up as we go to the 6th inning. Center field hit pretty good. Back is Torres. He'll have room though. At the warning track, he'll haul it in for out number 1. Start of play tonight. Pirates 5 games back of the Reds in the Central. The Dodgers have put 2 up on the board at Pittsburgh in the top of the 4th, lead at 2-0. And the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks are scoreless in the top of the 4th. By the way, Chris, we want to send our condolences to the Red Sox family and to all baseball people on the loss of Johnny Pesky, who passed away at the age of 92 yesterday. One of the greatest baseball people that you or I ever came across. And for Reds fans who did not know him, it's very similar to Joe Nuxhall. There's Johnny, born in 1919. He was born on the same day that Babe Ruth played his final game as a Boston Red Soxer in 1919. Passed away yesterday at the age of 92. He was a great player, a coach, a broadcaster, and a fixture. And just like we would go into the Reds clubhouse and Nuxie'd always be sitting there, you went into the Red Sox clubhouse and Johnny Pesky would always be there. He mentored so many young players and young people. He was a great mentor for me early in my career too. Just a special person, huh? This one looped down the right field line, but foul.
You're right, George. He was an icon in the whole Red Sox nation. He retired his number back in 2008. He was managed them too, as I remember, back in the 60s, did he?
Yep. Once as an interim manager and once as the regular manager. And it's kind of like when Don Zimmer comes to town, he'd be out on the dugout seat about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, ready to talk baseball. Popped up. David Wright has it 2 away.
He can handle a fungo, huh?
He could. And he taught you how to play the game the right way. Mentored so many young players that came through, and some of his favorites were players with Cincinnati roots too. I mean, he loved Tim Naring. Most recently, of course, Kevin Youkilis. Special guy, and he'll be missed as part of the Red Sox family and a baseball family. Here's Hannigan, intentionally walked in the 2nd, and he doubled with 2 outs in the 4th. 4 of the 6th inning, the Reds have had the leadoff hitter on, but that guy Chris Young's been able to get out of trouble. I've always called you the crafty left-hander. He's been a crafty right-hander since he lost that fastball.
You know, you're right, but what he's done is stayed still aggressive with throwing strikes. He doesn't pitch scared just because he's in a ballpark that gives up a lot of long balls. I mean, he over the last 7 ball games have been giving up a lot. He's been knocked all over the place. Last time out, he pitched against the Miami Marlins, who went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 3 home runs. But he comes into the very tight ballpark here at Great American tonight, and he's just still attacking the strike zone, although he's down behind Hannigan 3-0. Oh, 3-0 Leo right there.
3-1. Rifled into right center. Torres going over. They'll cut it off, and Hannigan will have to hold with 1. So Hannigan's 2 for 2 in a walk. The Reds have another base runner, and here comes Latos.
A kind of a same situation for Matt Latos last time he was up. He had Ryan Hannigan at second base, 2 outs. and he ended up working a walk to continue the inning and give Zach Cozart a chance to drive a run in. He'd love to do the same thing right here. Latos looking to the right side of the infield thinking, hey, maybe I can slide one over that way.
Latos struck out in the second and then that walk in the fourth. And the dirt hand again will hold. Left center field sinking. It will drop. Hannigan will hold at second. So Latos keeps the inning alive, and that'll bring Cozart up. Two good at bats for Matt Latos.
And he didn't hit it all that well, and he knows that. He probably wishes that he had the chance to hit that ball all over again because he got it right out of the end of the bat. Probably broke the bat. But it falls in for a base hit, keeps the inning alive. Now you turn it over to Zach Cozart, who's had some very good at-bats against Chris Young.
They've gotten more than they probably thought they were going to get out of Young. And when he's lost it, it's come fast at times this year. So Dan Worthen's out to talk and also give Ramon Ramirez a chance to loosen up. He's now starting to loosen in the bullpen. Young about to deliver his 100th pitch.
Statistically speaking, the Mets have the worst bullpen in the league. So Chris Young may have been pleading with Dan Worthen, saying, please let me in here at least to get out of this inning. I don't want that guy coming in here and gassing my runs in.
Bob Guerin talking to the bullpen. And here's Cozart. Breaking ball in there. Cozart hit a line shot to left for a single in the first, a double to left in the third, and he flied out to end the fourth with two runners on. Now two perfect pitches, the breaking ball and then the fastball in on the hands. And 2. In the dirt, it'll get past Holy. No throw. Runners at second and third. Wow pitch charge to Young.
The ball just down to dirt. Tolley goes down the block and leaves a little daylight down there. So now a base hit scores 2.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Cozart. Hannigan off third, Latos off second. Does he hold? Yes, he does. Cozart, he's faced him 3 times before tonight. Fastball up and in, breaking balls away. That one drops low and away. Ball 4, and the bases are now loaded. And that'll be it. Here comes Collins. Now they gave him a chance to get out of the inning. He walks Cozart. Bases are loaded, and here comes Stubbs. And before he gets to the plate, we'll have a pitching change. Time for our pitching change, brought to you by Skyline Chili. Time for our call to the bullpen on Fox Sports Ohio. Ballpark, the Kroger Bleachers. It's the place to catch all Reds action with ticket prices starting as low as $8. And for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. Enjoy the party with your family and friends in the Kroger Bleachers. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com today. 5 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 more intentional for Chris Young. He gives way to Ramon Ramirez, Chris.
Fifth major league team Ramirez has been with, and this year with the Mets he's allowed 9 of the 20 inherited runners to score. Right now he's got bases loaded, nowhere to put Drew Stubbs, but he isn't out away from getting out of this jam. Boy, if I'm Drew Stubbs, I'm looking first pitch fastball, letting it rip.
Drew tonight flied to left, sacrificed, and reached on a single to center. They're loaded for Stubbs in a scoreless game here in the 6th. Fastball on the corner for a strike at 91. Hannigan with 2 outs reached on a single to center. Lato's single to center, and Cozart walked. That's loaded the bases. Same spot.
Well, Stubbs must think both of those were inside, because he looked at him like there was no way he was even thinking about swinging the bat. Ramirez does have a little run on that fastball. It may have started at inner third and ended up on the inside corner.
Drew's got a good eye in this at bat anyways.
Well, if that little ball is touching that line, it's a strike.
Dribble to the right side. They'll get the out, and the Reds will strand 3 more. How many, you ask? The Reds have stranded 12 through 6, and we're still scoreless. 8 hits, no errors for the Reds. The total number of left on base for the Reds, 11, not 12, 11 left on base for Cincinnati, as Latos will go to work as we go to the 7th, facing the bottom of the order, Josh Tolley, the catcher in the 8th spot. So Young escapes after 5 2/3, 8 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and 4 walks, one of them intentional. 105 pitches, 65 for strikes. That's more than Terry Collins probably thought he was going to get out of his big, tall right-hander today. He pitched exceptionally well, Chris. He competed all night long.
Well, he did. Right now it's a 0-0 ball game, so he's given his team a chance to stay in it. Same for Matt Latos. Latos had his easiest inning in his last inning. And this one could prove to be equally as easy if he can take care of the leadoff man. You got a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle.
Ronnie Cedeno has moved into the on-deck circle in the 9th spot. 1 ball to Tolley, who lined out and was walked intentionally. That's a dribbler, and no one will get to it. That'll make its way into right field for a base hit. So the leadoff hitter on, and here comes Cedeno, a very good bunter. Starting September 1st, make sure to tune in every Saturday morning for a game with Urban Meyer. Before the kickoff, Coach Meyer will preview every opponent and give you the inside information on Ohio State's preparation for the game. Game time with Urban Meyer, Saturdays at 9 a.m. starting September 1st on Fox Sports Ohio. So Cedeno in to pinch hit for Rivera, who got the final out of the last inning. Tolley not much speed down at first, and Cedeno shows no inclination to bunt as they toss over there. Ronnie peers down to third for a sign. Nothing going for the third baseman Valdez, who inches in from third about a step or two in front of the bag. Nothing tipped by Cedeno so far. Showing bunt now, popped up. Frazier can't get there. Ronnie's been around as starting shortstop on 3 different teams, most recently the Pirates last year. Here he's played all around the infield for Terry Collins. Up high. The Venezuelan native made his Major League debut 7 years ago, back in 2005. Showing bunt, gets it down. It'll be a successful sacrifice. So Cedeno gets the job done. He moves the runner into scoring position. 1 out runner at second, and here comes Tejada.
Tejada's had some pretty good at bats against Matt Latos. He's got 1 hit to show for it. That was that line drive double that he hit over the head of the left fielder Ryan Ludwig. Hard ground ball, long fly ball.
pesky hitter who came in at 320, and he'll stay about the same. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
His best swings have been off the fastball.
Right on the corner.
With a breaking ball.
Hannigan wants the fastball up. He does, but it'll be in the seats.
Boy, Latos has just been able to put the ball exactly where Hannigan has put that glove all night long. When he's pitched to David Wright, he's wanted it away, away, away. He's been right there. He wants it up. You got it up. Perfect spot right there. Well, now the whole strike zone is wide open for Latos. Do you drop a little slider on him? You back him off with the fastball first?
Want to go up again.
And this is where, when you're a pitcher and you're pitching to Ryan Hannigan, where you just put all your trust in your catcher. He's in the game. He's got the flow of the game controlled. He knows the scouting report better than you do. He probably knows your stuff better than you do right now.
Totally off second. He represents the go-ahead run with 1 out here in the 7th. Did he go? Says James Hoyle. 1-2. We ask the question every night, where in Cincinnati, USA is Jim Day? Stay tuned to Fox Sports Ohio. Follow the Reds live host as he visits Cincinnati's USA attractions and events. It'll be tough with all these games for him to get to the tennis tournament this week. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Young left after 105 pitches. Latos just passed the 100-pitch mark. Got him. Well, Hannigan delivered his message. They both agreed on it, and boy, what a perfect execution.
You know what? If you can have your pitcher hit that spot, you're going to make yourself look like a real good catcher behind the plate. I love the way Hannigan just holds it right there. Doesn't try to frame it too much. Just holds it right there as kind of an exclamation point, waiting for that umpire to make a call.
4 strikeouts for Latos, 2 outs in the inning. And here comes Baxter. Mike flied to left on a 3-2 pitch in the first. Grounded to second and then singled to center. 1 for 3. Other than David Wright and Tejada, this guy's the toughest out in this lineup right now. He'll shorten up his swing, but this should be caught.
Here comes the left fielder. There to make the catch is Ludwig, and dodging another bullet is Latos. Hey, can anybody score? We're going to the bottom of 7. Ranking 3rd in the nation again in the United States News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. It's a pitching duel that's been long-lasting tonight. Neither team able to stretch across a run. Matt Latos has pitched great. He's allowed only 5 hits and no runs. He's stranded 8 Mets. Chris Young started, went 105 pitches, 5 2/3, 8 hits, no runs. Reds have stranded 11, and after Ramon Ramirez got the final out of the 6, here comes Bobby Parnell.
Yeah, Bobby Parnell is one of these guys that can really get it up there in a hurry. He throws in the high 90s. He averages about a strikeout an inning. Now, one time he was one of the hardest throwers in all the National League. He's still up there in the probably top 5%. But Aroldis Chapman has simply reset the bar in that category.
Three, 4, 5 for the Reds here in the 7th. Brandon Phillips, Ryan Ludwig, Jay Bruce. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Yeah, so we brag about his fastball. What's he do? Drops a nice little deuce in there on the first pitch.
He's been reading the scouting reports too, huh? Brandon struck out on a fastball up and in against Young in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, and lined into a double play in the 5th. Four of the first 5 innings, the Reds had the leadoff batter on. Twice with doubles, twice with singles, and were unable to push across a run. They've left 2 men on 3 times and the bases loaded once. Mets bullpen heavily loaded with right-handers. 6 right-handers and 1 left-hander. Where the Reds have pinned so much of their success on a bullpen that's done everything they've needed this year, the Mets have struggled. The 21 losses for this bullpen, the Mets bullpen, 3rd most in Major League Baseball.
and they have only 12 wins. That's the 4th fewest in Major League Baseball. Parnell walks the first batter he faces. So here's Brandon down to first, and here's Ludwig. He's been a pitcher that has been very stingy with the walks this year. As a matter of fact, he went 16 consecutive appearances without issuing a walk, but he walks the first guy he faces here tonight. Ryan tonight bounced out, flied out, and double to left. This has been a year where Phillips' running game has been short-circuited, first by a pulled hamstring and then most recently by that pulled calf muscle. He's really only been completely healthy for probably a month of the season this year.
You know, I always get the feeling that Brandon would like to run more than he does. Dusty Baker's trying to play it very conservative with him in that respect, mainly because of the injuries, also because he doesn't want him to get worn out. I'm not so sure this is really a stolen base situation right here. Although Parnell does throw a lot of ground balls. Double play always a possibility.
Runner not going. That pitch is in there for a strike. 0-2.
He just pounds the bottom of the strike zone, completely opposite of what Chris Young did. Young would live right upstairs, and Parnell lives down in the hollow of the knees.
He's ahead of Ludwig 0-2.
A little bigger lead now for Brandon. Maybe a wild pitch. Ball gets away from the catcher.
Parnell very seldom goes more than an inning, and he usually averages about a strikeout an inning. Runner not going. Swing and a miss. They beat him with 95-mile-an-hour heat.
Well, we talked about the bullpens of the Mets and how bad they are, and they really are that. If you measure it by earned run average, the Reds are the best in the league. Inherited runner scores, I mean, how many do you leave out there? The Reds are second best in the league, and strikeout to base on balls ratio, the Reds, of course, second best in the league. The Mets way down the bottom of the pack. So if you think it's a bullpen game, it's a decided advantage, obviously, to the Reds.
Here's Jay. Bruce doubled to right his first time up, his 28th double of the year. Flied to left and then struck out in the 5th. 0 for 2 in his career against Parnell.
Looks like all night long, and just not because Chris Young was out there, but they've decided to pitch Jay Bruce away, not even bothering to go inside to get him off the plate. The one ball they did hit hard caught the inner part of the plate, at least inner third. Everything else, they just pitched him away and kind of neutralized him.
First pitch he saw of the night, he hopped all over it.
Well, that was a ball that was more or less a get-ahead fastball on the inner side of the plate, maybe halfway to inner third. But that tells me that they realize, at least the advanced scouts that have seen the Mets or have seen the Reds play, that Bruce is pulling off the ball. His front shoulder flies open. You can't get to that outside pitch. Now they're going to come in. Unless that was just a decoy. Well, that changes the at-bat entirely.
He certainly didn't agree with that call.
You know, a lot of pitching coaches feel that 1-1 pitch is a more important pitch than the first pitch of the at-bat. And now you swing the count 1 ball 2 strikes. Completely different situation now for the hitter and the pitcher.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Parnell. And And still sitting down at first is Phillips with the leadoff walk. Well, here comes Todd. 2 pop-ups and a fly ball to center. Ground ball through. Rounding second, on his way to third is Brandon. It'll be first and third. Frazier drills one past the diving shortstop Tejada, and the Reds have the go-ahead run sitting at third for Wilson Valdez. And we'll see if Dusty will go to his bench where he's got Xavier Paul. Out comes Paul, so Xavier will pinch hit as Valdez is called back, and out comes Dan Worthen. There'll be no pitching change. As we told you, they have only one seldomly used left-hander in the bullpen, so it'll be Parnell against the guy who's been the Reds' best pinch hitter of late, Chris. Xavier Paul.
Xavier Paul has given the Reds really some of the best left-handed pinch hitting at bats we've seen all year long. They auditioned a few different players along the way, but Paul has been the guy that has really given the Reds the most, and looks like he's most likely to stick. There are his numbers pinch hitting wise. Nice short swing, good on a fastball. And he's worked the count in a lot of his at-bats.
Well, Xavier digs in. Frazier down at first. The important guy is Phillips. He's at third. That misses for ball one. Ball steps out, checks Mark Berry for a sign. Ball now 27 years of age. Signed by the Reds in July, spent a brief period of time at AAA, and now up here, and he's been a shot in the arm to this bench since he came up. Good eye, 2-0. To the stretch. Phillips off third, Frazier off first. On the corner for a strike.
Good idea right there by Xavier Paul not to swing at that pitch. I mean, I don't think he was taking all the way, but that pitch was a fastball right on the outside corner. He was probably looking in. He likes the ball in rather than away. So you don't go after a pitcher's pitch when you're ahead in the count.
Missing ball 3, 3-1. Mike Baxter, who's been in the starting lineup more often than not of late, still reigns as the leading pinch hitter in the National League. Reed Johnson, who now has gone from Chicago to the Braves, and Xavier Paul. 3 of the best in the league this year. Foley wants it away. Will need a new piece of lumber as he hits it right off the end of the bat. Dusty trying to find a way to get a run cross. He's gotten another good pitching performance from Matt Latos. He's got Sean Marshall loosening in the bullpen right now if the Reds can take a lead. Parnell trying to give his manager Something they haven't had much of, an effective 7th inning bullpen job. That's outside, and the bases are loaded. So a guy that walks relatively few, walks 2 in the inning. He struck out 2, but he's walked 2. And here comes Hannigan. Hannigan intentionally walked back in the 2nd. He doubled in the 4th. And then a 2-out single in the 8th. At least in regulation play, Hannigan facing Parnell for the first time. See his numbers with the bases loaded. 1 grand slam. He'll take a flare single to right here. Miguel Cairo's moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. Breaking ball in there.
Well, that's a gutsy pitch from a pitcher that's walked 2 batters in this inning. Bases loaded, throws a first pitch curveball, but drops it right in there.
Phillips led off the inning with a walk. He's at 3rd. Frazier single. Paul walk. They're loaded for the Reds here in the 7th. Bouncer. Snared by Davis, and they'll get the out. Tricky hop, but Davis handled it. So the Reds leave the bases loaded for the 2nd time. 14 left on base. We're still scoreless. Team record for consecutive saves. You know, Aroldis Chapman's story. He has been just immense, and hoping for a chance to add to his total of 20 consecutive saves going into tonight. Chris, your report card on the Reds right-hander Matt Latos. He pitched to Danny again tonight.
Yeah, right now 0's on the board. I give both pitchers A's. Matt Latos was just right on schedule, right on target. He threw the ball where he wanted to. He mixed his pitches up. I mean, just another effort by Latos that will not be rewarded with a W. Well, little by little, we've seen his earned run average come down. A lot closer now when he started the ball game at 3.8 than it was, I mean, to his career earned run average, which is in the mid 3s. So he's on a roll. You just like to get him a couple of runs. It'd be a blowout. Here's Sean Marshall.
He'll face David Wright, Ike Davis, and Daniel Murphy. 104 pitches for Latos, 71 for strikes. Changes for the Reds. Frazier stays in the game. He moves from first to third. Cairo comes into the game at first. Miguel Cairo will bat in the 9th spot. And in Wilson Valdez's spot, the pitcher Marshall will be inserted. So Marshall in the 7th spot, Cairo in the 9th spot, and Frazier now at third. Here's Wright, 2 strikeouts and a fly ball to the wall, and Wright 0 for 3. All of those at bats against Latos. That was dominant again tonight. Only 5 hits, no runs. But the Reds are unable to get any runs at all to support the big right-hander. That's a strike, 3-1. Ike Davis to follow, and then Daniel Murphy. Wright in his career is 4 for 6 against Marshall, and this time he'll walk it. So the leadoff hitter on in the 8th.
I'm kind of surprised to see Sean Marshall out there to face David Wright, given the fact that his on-base percentage coming into this game against Sean Marshall is .750, and he stays right with that stat and gets a leadoff walk.
Well, he's got lefty switch, lefty coming up. Here's Davis. Popped up, walked, and grounded out. Big swing, strike 1.
It's a good looking curveball right there by Sean Marshall, and it seems like he threw that with much more confidence than he did trying to find a strike zone with it against David Wright. I mean, he just let that one go.
He went. Davis turns and heads out of the batter's box in disbelief. Dan Iasonia said he broke the plane on that third base side, and it's 0-2. Talk about a comfort zone as a hitter, and there's such a thing as a comfort zone as a pitcher too. Lefty lefty or righty righty.
Well, like Davis walks back to the dugout looking out at the third base umpire Dan Iasonia, but Iasonia didn't swing and miss twice on that curveball. You kind of knew you had him if you're Sean Marshall after you looked down there and got all bent out of shape after that 0-2 called check swing strike. You got another lefty to deal with right here. Wright will steal a base. He's got 12 of them. He's also been thrown out 8 times.
There's Murphy, lined out, singled, and flied out.
If you're going to go, you might as well go on the first pitch right here because you're probably getting the curveball.
Slapped the other way and into the seats down the left field line. Murphy in his matchups with Marshall is 0 for 3. Yes, he did.
Boy, the beauty of having a curveball like Sean Marshall is that when you throw him a fastball on the inner part of the plate, he reads it as a curve. He's ready to go to hacking on it, and he realizes way too late it's a fastball. Ball nearly hits him, and he swings at it.
Another 0-2 count. Short lead at first is right. He's going nowhere. Runner going. Swing and a miss. The throw down, and he is out. Got him. Picked the right pitch, at least for Hannigan. Another look, Chris. Like a bullet. Got him. You by Miller Lite. Strike him out, throw him out. El Perfecto, Chris.
Right on the money. Ryan Hannigan is as good as gold when it comes to that. The quick tag right there. David Wright's not so sure. Very close down to the other end, but the Reds pick up the out, and they get out of the inning. Extinguish the threat. Good job by Sean Marshall.
Outstanding. Well, the big guy's in. Johnny Roush, another big body reliever out of this Mets bullpen, will take over facing Miguel Cairo. Here's Roush for his 53rd appearance, Chris.
John is one of the big guys in the league. There's no doubt about it. Comes down from Louisville, Kentucky, went to Morehead State. He is throwing the ball exceptionally well right now. Kind of guy that if you follow him through his career, he gets hot and cold, and right now he's on a pretty good run.
Here's Cairo hitting in the pitcher's original spot, the 9th spot in the order for his first at bat. Overall 157. Venezuelan native trying to get the Reds started. Did pinch hit in the series in New York twice and was double switched into a game once.
I know there's a whole bunch of Reds fans here, and maybe sitting at home too, really wanting the Reds to get a run in this inning. This is your last shot to see Aroldis Chapman. If you go extra innings, you win by a walk-off, you don't need a closer.
26,113 in this ballpark. Hoping that
they score here in the 8th. Chapman will probably come in to pitch the 9th. Well, that is some kind of exciting when he comes into a ball game.
Two balls, two strikes. Hanging in there is Cairo. Checking, he got him. So Roush strikes out Cairo for the first out of the 8th. Don't forget, Saturday, August the 25th, you can see your Reds take on the Cardinals at Great America Ballpark. Arrive early. Be one of the first 11,000 fans through the gates to receive a Red Stein, courtesy of PNC Bank. For tickets to see your Reds battle the Redbirds Saturday, August 25th, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com today. Well, here's Cozart. Single, double, fly ball out, and a walk. Down to short. Tejada has it. And quickly there's two away. Here's Drew. Stubbs flied out in the first, successfully sacrificed in the third, led off with a single in the 5th, but then was doubled up on a line drive off the bat of Brandon Phillips. And he bounced out with the bases loaded to end the 6th inning. Ball and a strike. .6'11", right around 300 pounds, John Roush.
So we've had the Red starter, Matt Latos, at 6'6". Chris Young, the Mets starter, at 6'10", and now John Roush at 6'11", and Sean Marshall also 6'6".
Right field, pretty good. Going back to the wall. At the wall, it's curving back, and it'll be hauled in by Baxter. Didn't get all of it. It just kept curving to the corner. So we're still zeros across the board. but he got the job done. Matt Latos, bare hand stare, the out at first, Chris.
Big old meat paws on Latos, no problem with that.
Boy, he pitched great. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. He joined us late. Matt Latos, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, struck out 4, walked 2, 104 pitches, 71 strikes. Deserved another W, but the Reds couldn't get a run across. The Mets have garnered only 5 hits. The Reds have 9. Mets have stranded 8. The Reds have stranded 14. Latos followed by Marshall 1 inning, and here's Jose Arredondo.
He's been throwing the ball very well. Arredondo has throwing a few more fastballs in recent outings than he did earlier in the year when he threw almost exclusively splitters, and because of that his controls got a little better.
A year ago, 51% of his pitches were split fingers. And up until the last couple of weeks, 58% of his pitches this year were split fingers. So he was ahead of the curve.
Well, a lot of times he uses that when he faces left-handers because that's his go-to pitch against a guy hitting left-handed. Like he's got a guy in the batter's box right now. There it is.
Jordani Valdez-Bean singled, sacrifice, bounced out.
Really, if you're Arredondo, you don't even need to throw that for a strike. You just need to throw your fastball for a strike to set it up.
Is there going to be room? It'll hit 1 row into the seats. 1-2. Sixth batter in the order. The Torres will follow, and then the catcher Tully. Two. Dodgers put a couple more on the board. They lead the Pirates 6-0. They're now in the 8th inning in Pittsburgh. Cardinals lead Arizona 3-2 in the 7th. Center field, and his pocket is Stubbs, 1 away. There's the center fielder Andres Torres. Walked intentionally back in the 2nd, struck out looking in the 4th, and he hit that one hopper back to Latos that you just saw. For John Morrell hot dog play of the night. That was in the 6th. Showing bunt, popped up and out of play. This game 1 of the series. Tomorrow it'll be Mike Leake going against R.A. Dickey. Dickey will go for his 16th win. Leake will go for his 5th. There have been very few years where a guy like that, a knuckleballer, has dominated the way R.A. Dickey has dominated this year.
Well, he had one stretch there where he just completely dominated. I mean, every time he was going out there, he was throwing either a no-hitter or close to it.
Lazy fly to left.
I should say a one-hitter or close to it.
2 away. Here comes the catcher Tully, and here comes our AT&T trivia answer. Which 2 Reds pitchers hold the team record for consecutive saves? You know that Chapman is sitting on 20. Rob Dibble and Johnny Franco, 23 consecutive saves, each of them in their careers. Of course, Dibbs was part of that 1990 Nasty Boys bullpen, and the Reds have almost duplicated that this year. Immense. And Johnny Franco just went into the Mets Hall of Fame this year. wasn't a better teammate than Johnny Franco, Chris.
Oh, you're right about that.
Ball 1 to Tolley. He was an outstanding reliever, but a leader in the clubhouse too. You remember a lot of things, and Johnny Franco always loved the number 31. And I remember I happened to be at Shea Stadium the day that the Mets traded for Mike Piazza, who always had 31 with the Dodgers. And here comes Mike Piazza in, gets into town, walks into the clubhouse with his bag, and walks across to his locker. And what number is sitting there? Number 31. John Franco didn't ask him. He just welcomed him by giving him his number, a number he'd had throughout his career.
Class move.
Yep. 3-0. That's a strike. We've seen other players ask for watches or money or whatever.
Or a suit.
Or a suit.
That's what happened when Steve Garvey signed with the Padres and he wanted number 6 and Tim Flannery had it and said, just buy me a suit. Garvey said, fine, what size you wear? He said, I wear a large. What do you mean large? Because I want a wetsuit. He was a surfer.
That's a walk to Tolley. So a 2-out walk, and here comes Scott Harrison, who will pinch hit in the pitcher spot. The Mets, as we told you, do not have a left-hander on the bench. Scott Harrison will pinch hit. They've used Cedeno. They've got Justin Turner, Rob Johnson, and Jason Bay still left on the bench. Short lead for Tolley. Here's Hairston. Brother of former Red Jerry Hairston Jr. And you have to be cautious with this guy who's got a pretty quick swing and is looking for one thing right here. In the dirt, smothered by Hannigan. Good job. Rifle to left, going to be one hopping off the wall. They get the rebound from Ludwig, and he'll get it in quickly. Good job by Ludwig. That gets by him. The run would score. But it's a rocket base hit off the wall and left to put runners at first and third with 2 outs.
Just like his brother, he's a very good high fastball hitter, and he gets one right above the letters right there and just rips it on a line. Ludwig plays it perfectly. Comes right back to him. That's the guy they're worried about, not the man at first base. As it turns out, Hairston had to stay at first because that ball got back into the infield so quickly.
And now here comes Tejada. Ruben bounced out, doubled, flied out, and struck out. Two away, first and third in this scoreless game in the ninth. Peers into the dugout for some help. Flashes the sign to Arredondo. That's a strike. $26,000 plus, wanting the Reds reliever to close the door here. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out.
22 runners left on base between these two ball clubs tonight. This fan base would love to see an even 2 dozen.
Dusty trying to keep it where it is, give his team a chance to wrap it up in the bottom of 9. He's danced around the strike zone with 2 pitches, and it's 2-2. Collins has seen his team score more 2-out runs than any other team in baseball this year. They're trying to do it again. And Dusty's trying to stay right where he is at scoreless. That's in the dirt. The runner going from first. Defensive indifference. They didn't hold him. They're going to give him a stolen base. Boy, Cairo was not holding him. But they'll give Hairston the stolen base. So 2nd and 3rd. And it's a full count, 3-2. Baxter due up next. Center field. Here comes Stubbs. He's got it. It hung up for that last instant, and Drew Stubbs' speed is a wonderful thing. Hauls it in. Coming up, Brandon Phillips, Ryan Ludwig, Jay Bruce. Can the Reds get a run and wrap it up? After losing to the Dodgers last night, 5 back of the Reds. Well, that's where we are in the NL Central. And here at Great American Ballpark, we're scoreless going to the bottom of 9. For the Reds, Brandon Phillips will lead it off. A strikeout, a walk, a line drive, and a walk. Tonight, Chris Young, Ramon Ramirez, Bobby Parnell, John Roush, and here's the 5th pitcher of the night.
Former Atlanta Brave, his 3rd year now with the New York Mets, Manny Acosta. 6'4" Panamanian. He's had some issues.
Opponent's batting average of over 300. Brandon trying to get it started. Phillips, Ludwig, and Bruce in the ninth. Since Joey Votto went down, he's moved into the 3 spot in the order. And 3 times has flirted right about to the 300 level. After the Cubs series, he was at 299. Steps in now at 295. Outfield straight away and deep in all 3 positions. Breaking ball misses. How many times has that guy come up big late in games for the Reds this year? Can he do it again? Were rolling through the first half of the year, and then injuries to the starting rotation, a bullpen that started to falter, really spelled doom for them. And tonight their bullpen has matched the Reds bullpen, the most vaunted bullpen in the league, inning for inning. The Reds trying to break through here in the ninth. There's a walk, and Phillips is on with his 3rd walk of the night. Here comes Ludwig. Ryan bounced out, flied out, doubled, and struck out. Now, Joe Morgan always said it, Chris. It's not how many stolen bases you steal, it's when you steal them. See if Phillips might try to pick a pocket here.
Yeah, what the Mets are going to play, though, they're going to play against a double, at least in the outfield. Play their outfield defense very deep to try to keep that ball in front of them. Ball gets behind him. Phillips, with his speed, he can score from first. They'll try to tighten him up at first, not necessarily to shut down the stolen base, but just to try to make him step 1 step closer to the base so he doesn't score on a long double.
Acosta to the stretch to Ludwig. Towards the left field corner. That'll drop for a hit. Here comes Phillips around second. He'll slam the brakes on and hold there. He had 3rd in his mind, but a great job by the young left fielder to get to that ball and hold him. Phillips gives him some props there. He was on his way to 3rd, a 1/3 of the way there. Watch Valdez speed. Risky play, Chris. That gets by him. The game is over.
Well,
but
it's
he
a risky
misses.
play, but at the same time, if Brandon Phillips goes to 3rd or attempts to go to 3rd and gets thrown out, that'd make him a big goat. He's too good of a base runner to do that. So the pressure entirely on the Mets and their defense and their pitching staff right now. Reds are beginning to smell it.
That'll be it for Costa. While the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball.
left-hander that they did not bring up all that long ago. First season for Josh Edgin, hard-throwing left-hander. He'll get it up there 93, 94 miles an hour. But he's had limited time in the major leagues, only 15 games under his belt, and a very pressure-packed situation for this lefty to come into.
2 on for the Reds. Jay Bruce steps to the plate. Bruce, the first pitch he saw of the night, doubled off the wall and right, his 28th double of the year. He then flied to left to end the 3rd. He struck out with 2 on to end the 5th. And he struck out in the 7th. So Jay looking for a chance to drive home the winning run here. That's a strike on the outside corner. This young lefty, native of Pennsylvania, his first trip to the major leagues this year. Fouled at the plate.
A couple of ways to play this if you're the Reds. One is to send Jay Bruce up there to try to move the runners up with a bunt, lefty on lefty. The other is to turn the guy into a potential hero by letting him swing the bat, maybe drive that winning run home.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Mets have used 5 bullpenners after Chris Young, who went 5 2/3, 8 hits, no runs. Jeremy Hefner and Frank Francisco, the lone righties, left for Terry Collins. 26,000 plus, hoping to leave with a smile on their face. Here's the 1-2. Fouled at the plate.
Where that ball landed into that area in the batter's box where there's no line that indicates fair or foul. And it was a smart play by Tolley to pick it up and fire it down to 3rd. They'd have had a chance for 3 if that ball had stayed in fair territory.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Phillips walked to lead the inning off. He's at second, representing the winning run. Drill, but foul. That one hung up right in Jay's eyes. He punished it into the corner, but 50 feet foul.
A little bit ahead of the breaking ball and a little bit behind on the fastball. Constantly making an adjustment.
Count holds at 1 and 2. Tolley rolls through his signs. Left field, going back. Guess what? That's gonna be gone, gone, gone. The Beaumont Bombers done it again. Get ready, everybody. Enjoy it. Chris, if you're going to draw it up, how do you turn a night around? Here's the best way to do it.
Well, you're not kidding about that. After not looking all that good earlier in the game, he gets a pitch up, drives it out of here. Baya! A 3-1 Reds victory. I'll tell you what, nobody left their seats tonight waiting around for a Reds win. That is our Nissan drive of the game.
Dandy. Well, the guy with a smile on his face is sitting next to a guy who's got a bigger smile on his face, Jeff Piccolo. Pick
Well, thank you very much, guys. And yeah, a big smile on the face for Jay Bruce. And boy, I tell you what, we talked about this before. That never gets old. That's your 4th career walk-off home run.
That's awesome. It's great. You know, Matt pitched his butt off, and we left a village on the bases tonight. And you know, just glad to get the win.
Jay, how much fun is this ride you guys are on right now? I mean, it just seems to be incredible. Every night, it's somebody different.
Well, you know, that's the way it's got to be to win a championship. You know, and with Joey out and Scott banged up a little bit. You know, it's what everyone has to do. So, you know, I don't really think it's right. I think that's how we're going to play. I think, you know, that this team is great, and I think we're, you know, got a lot of good things coming.
How about the pitching on this team? It's been incredible, hasn't it?
That's, you know, been our saving grace. You know, when we haven't hit enough, the pitchers are there, man, to bail us out. And you know, when everything's working together, man, the pitching's great. It's been, you know, what's made us so good.
And finally, for you, you never put your head down. When you're going good, when you're going bad, whatever. You just always say, I'm taking it one at bat at a time. Tough left-hander, young kids throwing up there pretty hard. What was that pitch, and how did you turn on it so well?
It was a fastball, and, you know, I just tried to see it as long as I could, man. You know, it's no secret I've been struggling, and, you know, but it's nice like tonight to keep you coming back. So, yeah, it was good. Left the pitch over I could handle, and I didn't miss it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jay Bruce, that gives him now his 6th career walk-off hit and his 4th career walk-off home run. Guys, it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Not bad, huh? Whole lot more to come. We've got Reds Live postgame coming up. A whole lot more to talk about. We'll have highlights. We'll see this a few more times next. Reds Live postgame next.